Michigan Network Media. So but can get, but well, take you need to like content all kind of pick keep on game on the game game will be in. Pilot has program Kansas layout going South Dakota kind of by it'd be time to get one. I say Dakota can. You know, they're plus 15. They're not. They're the underdog. You know, so the bet. You know, this is going to be a very interesting thing for this here. Take it a little interest. They had a poll. I seen this poll up here, and I pulled it up for a reason to tell you. This is a 50-50 game. You know, public betting 50-50 on South Dakota, 50 on Kansas. So, you know, this is going to be a toss-up game. If South Dakota can get their stuff going and Kansas cannot, South Dakota can win this game. This is anybody's game here. So we're going to go ahead and take a break here for a moment. We're going to, you know, hit some from our TV platform brand, that commercial here. Soon we get back here, we'll go ahead into the Michigan State Northwestern. Stay with us on the Ray Sports Show, coming to you live on the Fox D Network and the All Sports All Play Network. So stay tuned.
This is the Fox D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at foxdnetwork.com.
Well, Joe, this is the moment you're waiting for here. Who do you like in the Michigan State versus Northwestern? We're going to answer this question here for you, Joe, on the Ray Sports Show. You know, the pregame college show that's been seen on Saturday on the Fox D Network and the All Sports All Play Network. We are here. We are game. We are getting it all ready here. That's a big question here. You know, Michigan State was down last year. Northwestern was up. So this is going to be a big, what I want to say, I'm trying to come here and I'm trying to say something really productive here. All right, Northwestern has their eye. Let's just go into this. Some of my notes and stuff. Northwestern have their eyes on the Big Ten championship after coming off a short last year conference title game. And with the Big Ten opening the 2021 college football season by having its team jump into conference play right away, they'll open against a team they become very familiar with up front, the hungry Michigan State team that enters its second season under head coach Mel Tucker. You know, you got to understand about Mel Tucker. Mel Tucker's been a good defensive coordinator. He's a good coach. He was here in Jacksonville at one time, coaching when Jack Del Rio got fired. He became the head coach. He was a well-liked guy here in Jacksonville. Great teacher in X and O's. He's up at Michigan State now. He's getting ready for the second season there. I think he's going to turn Michigan State around a little bit here. He's a very likable kind of guy. So, stuff like that. So it's going to be a good. Hold on one second. I gotta take care of something. I'll be right back here. Let's see here. Hey, Northwestern. So. All right, hold on one second here. Let's take another commercial break. I don't have it up here.
This is the Fonx D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at fonxdnetwork.com.
Sorry about that. Live TV and everything. You got family and you got questions being asked and stuff like that. Normally I'm on when family is not away. So I'm sorry about that. If y'all caught that, that's my apologies. Live TV, live streaming, it's human nature, stuff like that. So I'm just taking care of some family business at the time. Brian Snow came up and he said Northwestern 31, Michigan State 20. Hey, that could happen. That could really happen, Ryan, but I don't know. I think Mel Tucker's got this team a little bit thing. I think he's getting his players now. His second year recruiting. Northwestern thrives during the pandemic shortened season and took home his second ever Big Ten West title after finishing with a 7-2 record. Wildcats lead Ohio State 10-6 at halftime, but a lackluster second half. The Spartans didn't enjoy nearly as much success with a last-place Big Ten East finish and a 2-5 mark. But after having all full and formal offseason to prepare, Michigan State University looks to orchestrate a bounce-back campaign. What a great time to have a bounce-back campaign. Go up against Northwestern. If they could do that and upset Northwestern here, that would be kind of awesome for the Big Ten. But I'm leaning right now. I'm leaning towards Michigan State and Mel Tucker because I like Mel Tucker and stuff. But as we go and keep on going, and might push me a little bit to go back to the Northwestern side. So we're teetering right now. We're teetering right here on the Race Sports Show. We were teetering where we can be, at right now. So we're gonna teeter right now. We're leaning to Michigan State, but it somehow can pull back into the middle and then pull me over to the other side as we keep talking about this game. This game is played tonight at 9 p.m. on ESPN. It's a primetime game. Northwestern is up as a favorite by 3. When Michigan State, what's going to happen when Michigan State has the ball? It's not known who will be taking over at quarterback for the Spartans. That's going to be the it factor. That's going to be the mystery right now. After Rocky Lombardi transferred to Northern Illinois, sophomore Peyton Throne, and Temple transfer Anthony Russo has been competing against each other, but Tucker has not tipped his hand. So he's giving that element of surprise. To Northwestern. Can't prepare. He's got to prepare for both quarterbacks. You got to prepare for both quarterbacks here. You can't prepare just one quarterback. You have to prepare for both. And that's nice job by Mel Tucker not tipping his hands in that contest. Thrones complete 56.5% of his attempts, 582 yards, and 3 touchdowns for 4 games, 1 start for Michigan State last season. Russo has plenty of starting experience, 26 games from his time at Temple, where he threw for 6,292 yards and 44 scores in 27 games from 2017 to 2020. So we got the transfer portal guy who's coming in and competing. So can he be the starter? Possibility. So you have to find out. So that's keeping an element of surprise right now. That's going to take a shock at Northwestern probably first. So if you don't, I won't be surprised if Michigan State jump on the board quick because of that element of surprise at the quarterback position. Whatever gets the nod, he will be throwing to a junior wide receiver in Jalen Naylor, who has 515 yards, 4 touchdowns in 2020 season, and Jaden Reed, 407 and 3 with the younger guy like Ricky White, Trey Mosley, provided depth in the backfield transfer Keith Walker III from Wake Forest University, and Howard Jordan II, third from Auburn. Jordan holdovers in Jordan Simmons and Connor Hayward to provide offensive coordinator Jay Johnson with a plenty of options. The Spartans also boost a veteran offensive line and returns all 5 starters. So you can see that now. You see why I'm leaning to Michigan State right now, because they got a veteran offensive line. I seen Keith Walker III play at Wake Forest last year. He was he's a dominant running back. Auburn, Harold Jordan III, he was good at Auburn. The holdover Jordan Simmons, he was pretty good at Michigan State. Connor Hayward is pretty good. So, they got a bunch of veterans offensive line here. The defense has been Northwestern calling card under Coach Pat Fitzgerald, but longtime coordinator Mike Hankswit retired, and only 4 starter returns from that unit that led the country in both points and passing yards allowed per game last season. New coordinator Jim O'Neill has the NFL experience and previously served as a graduate assistant for the Wildcats, and he inherited some talented players, including All-American safety Brandon Johnson, linebacker Chris Berg, cornerback Cameron Mitchell, and defensive end Adawana Adebowale, but filling the shoes of cornerback and first-round draft pick Greg Newsome II, as well, stellar linebacker and Pat Fisher and Blake Gallagher will be easier said than done. What will happen when Northwestern takes the nod in this game? He on the ball in this game. Senior Hunter Johnson is getting another shot at the starting under center for Northwestern as he beat South Carolina and transfer Ryan Hilliking and fellow senior Andrew Marty for the number 1 spot on the depth chart. Johnson has a lot to prove as he has lived up to the 5th, star recruiting rating since transferring from Clemson. Johnson played in 6 games in 2019, but was largely ineffective. 46.3 completion percentage, 432 passing yards in a TD, and dealt with injuries last year. He watched from the bench as Peyton Ramsey transferred from Indiana and helped the Wildcats win Big Ten West. In addition to staying healthy, Johnson must also display a consistency and control of the offense. To hang on his job. J.J. Jefferson and Moloch Washington and Barkley Holman top depth charts at the wide receiver with this year's 622 combined career receiving yards, while Charlie Manner and Terry Pugh anchored the tight end position, again combined with 17 career catches. And it will be interesting to see who starts at left tackle. Now that Rasheed Slater in the NFL, the Wildcats will suffer a significant blow with Cam Parker, who led the team with 333 yards rushing yards and 5 rushing touchdowns last year, suffered a season-ending injury during fall camp. Look for offensive coordinator Mike Bayajaka to employ a committee approach as Evans Hall 25 of 10, 210 yards, 2 touchdowns in 2020, and is the only running back on the current roster who has significant game action. Drake Anderson and Isaiah Browser, who finished 2nd and 4th on the team in the rushing last season, but both transferred early this year. Michigan State defense has struggled last year trying to adjust to Tucker's preferable 4-2-5 alignment, with 4 down linemen, 2 linebackers, and 2 corners and your safety. You got your 5 alignment, so you're playing a nickel corner in your 5 alignment defense. He has one of the linebackers that is going to be missing. But 7 stars return from that unit. The defense line should be a strength with Jacob Patskuka, serving as one of the anchors, and Drew Breesley and Michael Fletcher expected to bring the heat. Combined 6 sacks last season. Tucker will be counting on some transfer to improve the linebacker core, while cornerback Cullen Garvin is the best of largely unimproved secondary. What we're going to see here is the Wildcats are tough at home, 4-0 at Ryan Field in 2020, while the Spartans are 2-5 in the last 7 road games. Home field advantage proves to be a different on Friday night as Northwestern snapped its Mountain losing streak against Michigan State in a close game, 20-17. I think Michigan State could pull this out. It could be an upset for Michigan State here at Northwestern, but I see Michigan State probably winning 21-20, the final score in this game. I could lose this game too, but it's knowing that what I read, the veteran, they got some issues at Northwestern on the quarterback position. I think my heart is leaning towards Michigan State. I think Michigan State wins at 21-20, final score in this contest. But let's take a little bit more deeper look into Michigan State here in this game.
Two iconic brands coming together to change the game. Big Three has a whole new energy, baby.
Sorry, I have some technical difficulties there. So I mean, if you look at the odds in this game, they say 48 points combined. Go under. It ain't gonna be 45. It ain't gonna be 45. It's going to probably be 41. Bet the under on that if you're gonna do it. If I lose some money, I'm sorry about that, but I think that's the proper call for there. I think Michigan State will win this ball game. So we only got 2 more games to cover. 2 more games covered. There's only like 10 games tonight. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's 8 games tonight. 8 games tonight. Last night we had a lot of the games last night. 14. We only got 8 games tonight here. Friday night football is usually for the high school students and stuff like that. But it's the big, secondary men, college sports, taking a little pride in getting the season started, getting everybody acclimated back to college football, getting ready for the pros to start up in 2 to 3 weeks after, 2 weeks after that. So on the 12th of September. So we got football going we got football going. We got football. Football is back, baby. We're going to see some tailgating. I want to see some tailgating. I want to smell some of that barbecue. I want to get my, Freddie, the president of the All Sports All Play Network. I want to get him hungry tonight. I want him to have to go down and get him some barbecue ribs and stuff. Get ready to sit there and watch the games and stuff like that. While he's on his show, Just Say the Truth, that comes on at 8 Central tonight. So we're looking at this thing. I'm leading it all up to college football. We got it. Hey, getting countdown time. Some more college football about to roll down. We're almost about 45 minutes away before the kickoff in North Carolina at Virginia Tech to start off tonight's evening game. I want you to get hungry. I want you to get that food. I want to see some tailgating pictures. You can send it to the Ray Sports Show at gmail.com, all one word, Ray Sports Show, and then put the S and then put HOW. It's Ray, RAY, SPORTSHOW at gmail.com. I want to see some pictures. You can send it to my email there. If you got videos, you can upload it. If you got a Google Drive, you can upload it and share it with me to that same email address so I can pull it off and put it on here and we can show it. If you got some good ones, I want to see some good tailgate. I want to see some war paint. People dressing up in that war paint. I want to see what you do to get into that college football mind. That's going to be a thing. That's going to be a thing of beauty. Now we're going to move into the state of Colorado. The Battle of the Colorado. The state of Colorado right here. Northern Colorado versus Colorado. We're going to look at some of the action here. This is gonna be a classic big brother versus little brother matchup looms in week 1 as Colorado faces in-state FCS opponent Northern Colorado. Northern Colorado moves on from head coach Easton Collins Jr. after posting a 28-72 record for over 9 seasons. They replaced him with former Denver Broncos wide receiver Ed McCaffrey, who was previously coaching at high school level. He brings his son, Dylan, along with him as he transferred in from Michigan after being ranked the number 6 quarterback recruit in the nation. While being projected to finish at the bottom of the Big Sky Conference, the Bears have nothing to lose entering this game. The Buffaloes were a popular pick to finish last in the conference last year before Carl Dorrell surprised everyone starting the season 4-0. They came back to earth in the final 2 games of the season when they were blown out by combined 49 points against Utah and Texas. They returned 17 starters on both sides of the ball and should maintain their reputation as one of the better rushing teams this season. Northern Colorado, there seems to be a resurgence in the North Colorado football program after signing McCaffrey, the head coach. The Bears roster will look much different than it did the last time they took the field. McCaffrey has brought in groups of FBS transfers to fill holes on both sides of the offense and the defense, highlighted by his son at quarterback. They also returned 3 former Buffaloes on the defensive side of the ball who will surely be fired up to face their old team. The Bears are projected to finish at the bottom of the Big Sky Conference, staying competitive and will be consistently win versus Northern Colorado is in this matchup. The Bears, this is completely different offense than what we saw in 2019. McCaffrey has mentioned that the Bears have been practicing the spread offense and zone read schemes during the offseason. After averaging 20 points per game in 2019, McCaffrey brought in some weapons for his son. Among them is senior running back True Wilson, who was a fellow Michigan man with McCaffrey in 2019. A new set of pass catchers will fill the roster for the Bears, such as a 6'5" tight end, Robert Gulliam, who transferred from Illinois State and where he started 15 games. In 2019, wide receiver Dylan Thompson comes up in from TCU, Cassie Wood from Washington State, and John Morrison from Akron. The last time the defense took the field in 2019, it was all around bad. They followed the opponents and scored 37.8 per game, opposing teams averaging 8.2 yards per passing attempts and 5.8 yards per rushing attempt. It's no secret that the defense is a point of emphasis, and if the program wants to take the next step forward, the Bears are returning a group of underclassmen with transfers such as linebacker R.J. Potts from Cincinnati and Alabama Gannon from Duke, among the several. So facing a big experienced line like Colorado is throwing this new look defense straight into the fire the first week. What we expect from the Colorado Buffaloes, expectations are high in Boulder coming off a 4-2 season, but it begins with the question, if this team is for real. Colorado outscores UCLA in a track meet 48-42 and it barely survived Stanford. The Buffaloes then beat San Diego State and Arizona, which was to be expected, but the first time they were really tested was the wheels completely come off. Texas and Utah combined for 1,070 yards and 93 points against Colorado in the finish of the season. Buffalo ends the season on a downward trend and lost to all Pac-12 quarterback Sam Noor, who transferred to Oregon State. Brandon Lewis gets the nod at the starting quarterback. The second-year freshman dressed for every game last season, but only saw an action in the Alamo Bowl in Texas. Against Texas, he helped spark the offense in the game and showed off his legs with a 44-yard touchdown run. Lewis will have a luxury of a veteran receiving core along with a dominant running attack. Colorado will have a two-headed monster at the running back position behind Jarek Browser and Alex Fortu. Browser lead the Pac-12 last season in the rushing yards with 825 yards, while Footnote missed out last season with the hip injuries. Both will be running behind the dominant offensive line. What the Colorado defense looks like? Colorado defense was suspect at the best last year, allowing only 4 of its opponents score 32 points or more. The run defense ranked 114th 114th in the country, allowing an average of 5.4 yards per carry. And the Buffaloes were solid against the pass and option and quarterback, and 6.6 yards per pass attempts. This team will return 9 starters drive that, on third down. They really thrive on third down, allowing points only 31.8% attempts. They have a strong linebacking core group that is deep, with Nate Lemon returns after tearing his Achilles tendon and is the captain on this defense. Alongside with him is Carson Wells, who expected last season with 16 tackles for loss and 6.5 sacks. The Buffalo will outmatch the Bears physically, and they will have no film to study, and will be prepared on offense that is practicing the spread for nearly 2 years. Colorado is going to be able to run over Northern Colorado in the game. Is averaging 0.5. This game right now this is why I'm looking at the first half overall. It's going to be 31.5. I think Colorado will run with us, and McCaffrey will lose his opening debut. Final score 45-10, Colorado. So now we're going to be looking here. We're going to take one more break here, and then we're going to break down Southern Colorado State Jackrabbits versus South Dakota State Jackrabbits versus the Colorado State. So that's our next game to look up. We're going to go in here and take another little break here. This is the Ray Sports Show on the All Sports All Play Network and the Fox D Network. We're coming to you live on the TV platform. We're coming to you live on our social media here, and we're coming live on the Ray Facebook page also. So, you can show me a little bit of love there too. But most important, we want to show love to the All Play All Sports Network and the Fox D Network. That's the first and most that we need to, pay tribute to. And then you can hit my page on a little secondary time. Help me out a little bit too. So we're going to get ready for the few words here from our Fox D affiliate, a Fox D Network affiliate here. Here's some of their videos. Stay tuned.
This is the Fox D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at foxdnetwork.com.
Welcome back to the Ray Sports Show, the college football pregame show, special edition. We usually be seen on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. leading up to the college football thing. Today we have another special edition because we have college football on Friday. So we want to get everybody ready for tonight's game. We already talked about the North Carolina and Virginia Tech game. We also talked about the Duke and Charlotte game. We also talked about the Old Dominion Wake Forest game. We also talked about St. Francis, PA versus Eastern Michigan. We also talked about South Dakota versus Kansas. We also talked about Michigan State versus Northwestern. We also talked about Northern Colorado versus Colorado. We're going to hit that, the last game of the night at 9 o'clock. This will be on the Fox FS1, Fox Sports Net 1. It'll be the South Dakota State at Colorado State. So let's take a look at this game here for you, the Colorado State. So I hope we got some Colorado State fans in here and some South Dakota Jackrabbit fans, listen on to the All Sports All Play Network and the Fox D Network. So let's get right to it here, ladies and gentlemen. Colorado State Rams are set to welcome the FCS national runner-up South Dakota State Jackrabbits to Fort Collins on Friday, to kick off the 2001 college football season for the two schools because of the scheduled disruption. Colorado State head coach Steve Addazio only had four opportunities to lead the Rams onto the field in his first year at the helm. So it's hard to say how much we learned from that team that went 1-3, record 34-24 victory overall over rival Wyoming was very important, but the Colorado State wasn't very competitive and lost against Fresno State, Boise State, and San Diego State University. The Jackrabbits didn't play at all in 2020, but excelled during the 2021 spring season. From February 19th to May 16th, South Dakota State poses an 8-2 record, including a 5-1 mark. So they got a little bit of advantage here. If you played from February to May, and then you take off June, you take off rest of May and June and July, and now you're coming up here at the end of August. So you only got 3 or 4 months that you haven't played football. So they got, real round aspect of what their team is really about, and they had some playing time. So that's what this pandemic really has helped some of these teams. So I think the Jackrabbits got a little bit of jump here, got a little bit of thing. They shouldn't be too much rust on them from that, season. They marked the Missouri Valley Conference to play that earned the Jacks the top seed in the 16-team FCS playoff. The Jackrabbits beat the heavyweight North Dakota State in a regular season finale and then made it a run for the FCS National Championship in Frisco, Texas, but lost to a heartbreaker of Sam Houston 23-21 to fall short of the program's first national title. After 9 straight playoffs appearances and the near miss last season, South Dakota State enters the season ranked number 3 in the NCAA FCS poll and number 4 according to the Athlon Sports, writers, who does the FCS bowls and stuff. In other words, the Jackrabbits should be very dangerous match for their FBS hosts. So this is going to be an interesting game here. Jackrabbits, so South Dakota is favored by 3 points, the underdog by 3 points, and I mean it's going to be a close game. Chris Okonon is expected to start for the Jackrabbits at quarterback, replacing the injured duo of Mark Groskowski and Joe Board Gibbs. Gibbs was the starter in 2019. Groskowski was completion of 57.4% of passes, 1,565 yards last year, 15 touchdowns with only 3 interceptions in the spring. He added 577 yards rushing with the ranked 3rd behind running back Isaiah Davis, 818, and Pierre Strong Jr. at 707, and scored 7 times on the ground and scored only to Davis's 10. The job opened up for Okonow and a former 3-star prospect because of knee injury, Groskowski and Gibbs. Okonow threw for 2,064 yards and 18 touchdowns and added 493 yards rushing and 8 touchdowns at Sanford in 2019. He's also appeared in 8 games for South Florida from 2007 to 2018. And other than Okonow, nearly the entire roster returns from South Dakota State runner-up squad. Davis and Strong are the backfield as the top 2 receiver. Jackson Jenke with 32 receptions, 473 yards, 6 touchdowns. And Jonan Jenkins also had 21 for 425 and 5, given his experience and skill set as well as the talent around him. Okonow should be kept the Jacks rolling offensively. Colorado State has a ball. What would they do with the ball when they get the ball? We're looking at a full edge Colorado State offense in 2020, but the bottom line numbers are discouraging for Aznizio, who likes to win games on the ground. He's a ground control coach. He likes to control the game by the ground game. The Rams averaging 124 rushing yards per game and 3.18 per carry, was ranked 105th and 113 respectively nationally by Marcus. And this according to Marcus McElroy Jr., scored 3 rushing touchdowns and to lead the team, but he managed only 2.7 yards attempt, going 110 yards on 41 carries. Adon Veens leads the way with 210 yards on 49 attempts and scored once, but was still ahead to 4.29 yards on an average. Both McElroy and Veen returned. Aldizio added David Bailey, and as a transfer from Boston College, Bailey led the Eagles with 503 yards rushing and 7 touchdowns last season, and ran for 844 yards and 7 scores for Aldizio in 2019. Quarterback Todd Sanidio started the opener against Fresno State and ran for 80 yards on 13 attempts, 16.2 yards per carry, but played sparingly for the rest of the and finished with 92 yards rushing on 25 carries, 3.8. Centio was an Adana in 2001 starter shortly after Patrick O'Brien transferred to Washington. His athleticism will be assessed, but he must improve as a passer. Last year, Scenario completed 14 out of 36 attempts for 38.9% for 207 yards with 1 touchdown and 1 interception. He averaged 5.8 yards per attempt, which would have ranked 99th nationally. He played enough to qualify for a national leaderboard. However, the All-MAC West receiver Dante Wright and tight end Trey McBride returning Scenario will have one of the best pass-catching duos in the league. McBride led the team with 22 receptions, 330 yards, and 4 touchdowns in 2020. Wright was close behind with 20 catches for 315 yards. So that's what you're looking at right here. So we're looking at some of the final projection here. Nevertheless, Colorado State has a talent advantage. The Rams have 2 of the top offensive weapons in Mountain West in Wright and McBride. Adizio has improved the roster through transfer portal. CSU also has a solid defense led by Scott Pagin and Miami transfer, who had 5.5 sacks for Rams last season, and Manny Jones and Colorado State ranked among the national leaders in sack rate, 11.6 passing results in sack. The sacks will test Colorado State, but the Rams can avoid the embarrassment of losing to the FCS opponent, even if South Dakota State is one of the very, very best. Most prediction, these guys got these predictions predicting 28-24 in Colorado State. I've seen some eye tests here, and I think the South Dakota State eye test passed pretty good the last 2 or 3 years. So I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to say South Dakota State 24 and Colorado State 21 in this ball game. So we'll see how this prediction comes up and stuff like that. We're going to round up this sports show here, a few minutes early here. It was planned to go 2 hours. We're going to have to, downsize a little bit. We'll bring up a little bit here. 2 points we're going to bring up here in the next few minutes here. While we still got some little bit of time left here in this Ray Sports Show college pregame show here on Friday. Saturday, I'll give you a little bit of highlight on Saturday what we're going to be talking about here. We're going to be talking about the number 19 Penn State versus number 12 Wisconsin game. That's at 12 o'clock. That's be on Fox. I'll be on Saturday. Saturday also we're going to be talking about number 2 Oklahoma at Tulane at noon, ABC kickoff. We're going to talk about number 8 Cincinnati against Miami, Ohio. Number 1 Alabama versus number 14 Miami. Number 17 Indiana versus number 18 Iowa. We're going to talk about the Marshall and Navy game. 2 contrasts of offense. The Navy plays that option. Marshall plays that wide open spread type offense. We're going to talk about Maryland, West Virginia, how they hate each other. Hatfield and McCoy. I call it the Hatfield and McCoy because that's what they look like. They're back near, not right in the backyard, but right near each other, not that far away. So Hatfield and McCoy type deal. We're going to talk about number 7 Iowa State versus Northern Illinois. Number 23 Louisiana versus number 21 Texas. That should be a pretty good game. That's at 4:30 on Fox. Giving you a little bit of pregame. We're going to talk about number 15 USC against San Jose State, who's already played a game and they won their first contact. Can they upset you, number 15 USC? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Campbell versus Liberty. We're going to talk about Garner-Well versus Georgia Southern. Then we're going to go ahead and talk about number 3 Clemson versus number 5 Georgia. We're going to talk about number 13 Florida versus Florida Atlantic, Battle of Florida. We're going to talk about Northwestern State versus North Texas. We're going to talk about Georgia Tech versus Northern Illinois. We're going to talk about number 6 Texas A&M versus Kent State and number 20 Washington versus Montana. How about later on in the night, we're going to talk about number 16 LSU, who already played. UCLA has already been tested. They already played. They won their game against Hawaii. Can they upset LSU? If this game will be played in Los Angeles. We're going to talk about Bethune-Cookman and UTEP, who was also played. It was also a winner. We're going to talk about Arizona and Nick. We're going to talk about your BYU and Arizona game. That'll be a 10:30 game on Saturday. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Utah versus Washington State, and many, many more as the show goes on and as the season goes to a theme. What can we say about the little thing about Clemson here in the Georgia game is going to be interesting. You got JT Daniels on Georgia, who's an established quarterback. You have the quarterback that's taking Trevor Lawrence's place, who's got Travis Etienne. They got a lot of holes they got to fill there. What team is going to show up for Clemson? Is it going to be a dominant team, or will Georgia actually show up with JT Daniels, who had a pretty good season last year, coming on at the later spot? So we're going to go more in depth in that game. Then we're going to talk about the number 1 in Alabama and number 14 Miami in the this was played on it's going to be played on a neutral site. So we talking about beginning of the college football season. Both teams are going to be ragged. Can Miami really jump on Alabama and surprise them at the beginning of the season? Will Alabama dominate? That's going to be a good question here. We're going to get more in depth than that. We're going to talk about the new quarterback for Alabama, the new quarterback for Clemson. We're going to talk about King. How is King's dynamic for Miami? Under 1 year under Manny Diaz now, how is he getting better? He decided not to go to the NFL, come back. Sean King is a good running quarterback, good passing quarterback, good dual threat. We're going to see how good that really is. Tonight, we want to see how good North Carolina is against Virginia Tech and Lane Stadium. And we know there's a stake in Lane Stadium in North Carolina. North Carolina in Lane Stadium is, somebody that stadium by that Sandman playing blast in the beginning, trying to intimidate teams. Sam Howell, a good veteran quarterback. Can he dictate what happened? Can they replace both running backs over 1,000-yard rushers? They had two of them. Two-headed monsters. It's going to be a run back committee. Can Grimes be the corner that we seen towards the end of last year? These are all legit things that we're going to see tonight in these ball games. We're going to run down the schedule for tonight real quick. Number 10 North Carolina leads it all off at Virginia Tech. This game is at 6:00. This game is about 25 minutes away. A little bit we're almost about 20 minutes, about 23 minutes away. Duke versus Charlotte at 7:00. Old Dominion versus at Wake Forest at 7:00 on the ACC network. St. Francis, PA versus Eastern Michigan, South Dakota versus Kansas, Michigan State versus Northwestern. That's 9:00 on ESPN. That's a prime time game on ESPN. Michigan State can pull up a shocker against Northwestern. We know how good Fitzgerald's Northwestern team on defense is. Can Michigan State make that game? It's going to be a close game. Northern Colorado is going to be a blowout, part of a blowout game against Colorado. I think this is going to be a good game. I think the South Dakota State, which the FCS school, might end up beating the FBS school in Colorado State University. So we got all this information. We got all this stuff. We set the guideline. We set the time. We set the day. We said everything. So what we're going to look at here today, and don't forget, the Ray Sports Show is the official college football pregame show on the All Sports, All Play Network and the Fox D Network. So let's give some love there. I want to go ahead and we'll go one more time here on the commercials from the Fox D Network. Say with us. This is the Ray Sports Show on the All Play All Sports Network.
This is the Fonx D Streaming Network. Register to come on our channel at fonxdnetwork.com.
So welcome back to the Ray Sports Show. We're getting ready here for a nice day. I'm going to run off the schedule for the rest of the night here on the All Sports All Play Network. Tonight is Friday night. Just Say the Truth will be on. That comes on at 8 Central. We're looking at our new show, the NBA Fast Break. Give them some love. They come on 9 p.m. Central here tonight. And that's our Friday night show here on the night lineup. That's Just Say the Truth at 9 p.m. Eastern Time, 8 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Pacific Time. NBA Fast Break is our new show. This will be the first night for the NBA Fast Break. That crew is Jonathan Mathis, and Mike Hughes, and William Morgan, who's leading that crew off. That's at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 9 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. And Just Say the Truth is with Freddie, Jonathan Mathis, Mike Hughes, and Tony Halsworth. So they're leading that crew out tonight. This has been the Ray Sports Show. Thank you. God bless. College football tonight. Please send your tailgate pictures, your war paint. Send it to raysportshow@gmail.com or send it to the All Sports All Play Network Facebook page. If you need, if your video is a little bit large and can't send it by email, if you have Gmail, you can go to Google Drive. It's free. Put it on Google Drive, and you can share it to the raysportshow@gmail.com. Also, you can send it to, our YouTube channel too. We have a YouTube channel here, and let me go ahead and show you once again where we all at. We are at the website www.allsportsallplaynetwork.com, Facebook page All Sports All Play, YouTube channel ASAP Sports Network. Search for that. Twitch ASAP Network, all one word. Facebook page Ray Sports Show 1. That's my official show page. But we need to make sure that you hit the All Play All Sports, the Fox D Network first. That's the most important part. Second, my page is secondary. So we need to hit all those up and get ready for that. We got some college football action in about 19 minutes coming up. Good night here. Don't forget, the Ray Sports Show will be back on live at 9 o'clock in the morning Eastern Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 8 Central, and 6 a.m. Pacific Time for the Ray Sports Show pregame college show. Get you ready for the Saturday action all the way up to noon kickoff. We got a lot to talk about tomorrow. We got number 1 Alabama versus number 14 Miami. Number 5, Georgia versus number 3 Clemson. We got more college football. Come and join us, and we get it all ready for you. Get you set up for Saturday, and hopefully get some tailgate pictures and get some more fans interactive. You can also comment on our Facebook page, and you will see the comments come up. This is just like this one right here for Brian. Once again, Brian Snow said Northwestern is going to win 31, Michigan State 20. So, and then, Nate the Great mentioned here. So I learned today that the first ever college football game was Rutgers versus New Jersey. The final score was 6-4. Yeah, that's some good football knowledge after the Civil War. So that's some good take right there by Nate. Some of our research analysts here on the All Sports All Play Network. We look at Mike Hughes says Dabo, all Clemson going undefeated. We don't know about that because we're going to break that down too. We're going to see what that, we've seen what the quarterback could be when he was up against Notre Dame, but we also know what happened in that game in Notre Dame too. And so now we got to see if he can replace Trevor Lawrence. There's some big shoes to fill in Trevor Lawrence at Clemson. So we're going to all get into that. So I farewell. I do. Get ready for some college football tonight. Number 10, North Carolina versus Virginia Tech. If you want to watch some good entrance in the thing, watch the Virginia Tech's entrance to the Sandman. That's going to be imitation. You know, it's going to be really intimidating to North Carolina. And the history of North Carolina going up to Lane Stadium is very unique. And this is good. This is going to be a good game. And I think last time they were in Lane Stadium, this game went, 6 overtimes before Virginia Tech won. So it could be another one of those classics. It could be all, starts at 6. That game could not possibly end probably about 10:30 if he goes into overtimes again. So we got some college football. We got the Northwestern Michigan State. Give some love to Michigan State in the Northwestern game at 9 o'clock on ESPN. That follows the North Carolina Tar Heels and the Hokies game. And we'll see you tomorrow at 9 a.m. right here on All Sports, All Play Network and the Fox D platform, TV platform. So good night. See you later. Adios. Amigos. Go watch some football. It's back.
You don't want none! You don't want none! LB's Brick Squad, LB Brick Squad! Now boys ready? Roll boys! You know!